Hey, what's going on? Uh, this is another episode of the Reporter Vlog on a Friday morning. Um, how you doing? Today we're gonna do a fresh doubleheader. Maybe an hour old, but it's still a fresh doubleheader for a change. Um, with a little flavor. But let's get right into it. First, gotta make sure everything's shut off and where it needs to be. Yeah, there's Bluetooth on. Gotta shut that off. Alrighty. Alrighty. Let's get right into it. First story is an old problem that I guess Louisville's probably going to pay attention to, and that is City of Louisville spending millions to fix the awful, is the pretty much like it's the awful sewage smell over the past few years. I'll repeat the past few years. Uh, but let's get right into it to give this story. First story on safety net. Okay, of course, to give the credits, uh, credits go to WRB.com. Richard Essex, the publisher, published on June 13th, 2024, updated an hour ago. Okay, Louisville, Kentucky. The strong sewage smell in Louisville is back, and the city is pouring millions of dollars down the drain in its latest efforts to quell the smell. Uh, they are replacing hundreds of storm drains, mostly in West Louisville. The new catch basins are supposed to trap water and keep the smell in the sewer drain. Oh man, it's awful. Awful, Rhonda Haynes said. The pleasant smell of a grill is just enough to keep the odor from the street at bay. It's hard to describe, Haynes said. It smells like some kind of toxic gas, and it's real foul, and it will have your stomach upset. Right in front of Haynes's home is a street drain that leads to the sewer system. It will wake up at night time too. He said, "You're asleep. You're asleep. The odors are that bad." The drain is one of 13 such drains and drains MSD has replaced in the Park Duval neighborhood at the cost of $373,000. Cheryl Lauder of MSD said these new catch basin drains work like the pipes under your kitchen sink. The curved pipe under your kitchen sink is the same concept. He said as long as there is water sitting in the curve, you're good. If it dries out, the sewer odor can come up and into your bath or kitchen. MSD estimates that they will spend 40 million over the next couple of years, mainly in West Louisville, replacing street catch basins and drains. There's always choices that have to be made. Lauder said the 40 million figure does include other work other than catch basins. It includes 1.3 million in the California neighborhood, 2.7 million in Shawnee. MSD is working on the cost to replace 73 drains in the Chickasaw, 54 in Taylor Berry, 747 in Russell neighborhood. Whew, man. Dominic Mosley, who lives in the Park Duval neighborhood, said she was overjoyed when the MSD crews fixed the catch basin drain near her house. I don't like this smell, Mosley said. It just makes me sick. The hot, dry weather has ushered has ushered the smell back to the section of the neighborhood. When it rains and when it dries up, it gets worse. Mosley said. MSD has a number answered by a human during regular business hours 502 540 6000. I repeat 502 540 6000 000. Their website, or you can file a complaint on the Smell My City app. Well, it's about time that somehow our problem has to be get worse before the city does something, uh, and it's about time they're gonna give. Bottom line, it's about time they punch that money into something. I'll give that money into something that into a need instead of just a want. Yeah, as an asset, and that's been the problem with the city over the years. And I can't blame them because water is a good cleaner, but when it sooner or later water turns, and this is a perfect example where they're in a big way. And somehow all this smell is all in the West End, all in the West End. It shows you how neglected that part of town is when when that smell is pretty much at a focal point in the city. And but Louisville's finally going to do something about it. We'll see how their solution works. Yeah. We will tell how this solution works when it's all said and done. But it's a perfect example. Louisville, when the problem gets bad, Louisville has the money. Louisville really does. It is they just pour their money into a want instead of a need, or into wants instead of a need. Mm, yeah, to pull out some points a little bit. The drain is one of 13 such drains MSD has replaced in the Park Duval neighborhood at the cost of $373,000. The owner of the MSD said these new catch basin drains look like pipes under your kitchen sink. Wow, get all that money. And here's the crazy thing about it. Here's the total of all them sewers. Let me see if I can get. Oh, here it goes. That includes 1.3 million in the California neighborhood, 2.7 million in Shawnee. MSD is working on the cost to replace 73 drains in Chickasaw, 54 in Bury, and 747 in the Russell neighborhood. 747 in one neighborhood. Wow, that's some that's something right there. 747 foul smelling sewers in one neighborhood. Some serious neglect. That's all you can say. But we will see if the Louisville solution can finally fix this problem. But that's something to have out there. Have to deal with that smell in especially in the Russell neighborhood. 747 sewers that is not smelling too fresh. In one neighborhood, 747. But that's all I got for this one. Time to go on to the heavyweight story behind this. LMPD, LMPD chief had deeply concerning had deeply concerning response to major sexual harassment allegation. Attorney said. Basically, once again, Louisville has problems, especially as LMP chief problems. And this from Steve Conrad to this lady right here. My goodness, wow. Now I see why Louisville's crime is turning into almost turning into a little Detroit. Okay, LMPD chief had a deeply concerning response. Had a deeply concerning response to a major sexual harassment allegation. Attorney says. Raina Catno, give the credits. WDRB.com once again, and Raina Catno, Catco, the publisher, and on June 13, 2024, updated 17 hours ago. Attorney representing a Louisville Metro Police Major who told Chief Jacqueline Gwen Ruriel she was sexually harassed by a major officer said the chief's response was deeply concerning. Attorney Jared Smith told reporters Thursday in downtown Louisville that Gwen Veriol's response is to the allegation paints an unsettling picture of a department lacking strong leadership and failing to prioritize the well-being of its officers. When Veriol was placed on paid administrative leave Wednesday by Mayor Greg Greenberg after he became aware of how she handled a workplace sexual harassment allegation involving the LMPD officers. This situation is especially concerning given that just last month, the United States Department of Justice raised serious concerns about LMPD's handling of sexual misconduct allegations. Greenberg said, I will not tolerate sexual misconduct in Louisville's metro government, including the LMPD. So it said a May 22nd command staff meeting that was called to announce a series of promotions within LMPD. Lauder hadn't reported harassment to Gwen Veriol yet. Smith said as she was still exploring ways to report the complaint in a confidential way. Lauder was sick and joined the meeting virtually. Smith said, according to the audio file of the meeting that provided by Smith, Gwen Veriol called on each major in the meeting, asking them if there was anyone else on the staff that they couldn't work with. Gwen Veriol is there anybody? Is there anybody within the command staff you can't work with? Daughter, ma'am, I cannot work with Major Brian Kuriger. Kurgan. He has sexually harassed me and attacked me, and I cannot work with him. The room was silent for 21 seconds before Gwen Veriol said, all right, and continued calling on the other majors. Shortly thereafter, she confirmed Kuriel's promotion. Gwen Veriol, your next lieutenant colonel will be Brian Courier. Major Lauder said, I've heard your concerns, and I understand that you cannot, so we have to visit visit on status moving forward. Lauder said, yes, ma'am, I know now is not a good time to bring it up, but I didn't want you to say that later that I didn't bring it up. So I'm sorry, and I had to come out in this way. and Gwen Veriol, I have heard your concerns. Yes, ma'am. Smith said that he and Lauder, a 16-year veteran of the LMPD who patrols the 1st Division in West Louisville, are encouraged by Greenberg's move Wednesday to suspend Gwen Veriol. Well, we heard LMPD Chief Jacqueline Winverio say in this recording is deeply concerning as their tone towards her command staff is, in my opinion, aggressive and threatening. Smith said Thursday the environment doesn't feel welcoming or safe. LMPD spokesperson John Bradley said Thursday that no command staff members of the LMPD had been promoted. LMPD confirmed Couriers remains a major right now. Deputy Chief Paul Humphrey will lead the department in the acting chief role, the sixth person to lead the department. Wow. The permanent in a permanent or interim basis since 2020. Let us repeat that. The Deputy Chief Paul Humphrey will lead the department in an acting chief role, the sixth person to lead the department in a permanent or interim basis since 2020. That's a criminal's dream, right there. Because no stability up top. But let's move on. Uh, Humphrey joined LMPD in 2006 and spent several years as a first and sixth division officer in the Newburgh and Russell neighborhoods. In 2010, he joined the SWAT team and became the commander of the team in 2017. In August 2019, Humphrey was promoted to major and was named director of training and recruitment. In in March of 2021, he was promoted to assistant chief, also taking over command of LMPD's administrative bureau. Humphrey said he is committed to moving the department forward, and said the LMPD will cooperate with the investigation. LMPD takes allegations of sexual misconduct very seriously. He said, "We will treat this process with the seriousness it deserves and respect the conclusions and the independent investigation will find and the decisions the major makes as a result." We will not let this be a distraction. Retired FBI agent David Byer will lead the independent investigation into the chief's handling of the allegation. Greenberg said a separate independent investigation will look into the harassment claim itself. Byer Bayer previously investigated Metro Corrections and sexual harassment allegations at TARC at the request of the major Metro Council. Glenn Verriel was named permanent chief of LMPD last July after spending nearly 2 years with the department as a deputy chief and interim chief. She was serving as an interim chief when an old National Bank employee opened fire at an office building in downtown Louisville. When the Department of Justice released a scathing report that rebuked the LMPD's actions over the last several years. Prompted by the death of Breonna Taylor in 2020, the Justice Department review concluded that it has probable cause to believe the LMPD and the Metro government engaged in the pattern of practice of conduct that deprives people of their rights under the Constitution and federal law. It includes excessive force, searches based on invalid warrants, and conducting unlawful traffic and pedestrian stops. Police took a closer look at 33 cases of possible officer misconduct, flagged in the report released on March of 2023. 33 cases. They either were not formally investigated or weren't investigated at all. After a formal review of cases, she said no further formal investigation will occur. Gwen Verriel and attorneys for the city have repeatedly downplayed the DOJ's findings in court during civil lawsuits against LMPD. In sworn testimony, she repeatedly called the DOJ findings allegations that had nothing to do with the case at hand. Also, lawsuit filed by the family of Trayvon Mitchell was killed when the suspect blew through a stoplight and hit his moped. In November, Gwen Verriel testified under oath at the trial of Mitchell's death that she wasn't wearing a body camera on the scene of a fatal crash in 2021, only to have the attorney of victims of the crash provide photographic proof she was. Gwen Verriel was called to the stand in the civil trial involving LMPD officer Ben Sullivan for the 2021 police chase that ended in the fatal crash at the intersection of Broadway and Dr. W.J. Hodge Street. The chief testified that the pursuit, which was against department policy, did not cause the crash that killed Mitchell. After the allegation that the pursuit may have been racially biased, Gwen Verriel testified that there was no body camera footage from her device because she was not wearing a camera when visiting the scene. But attorneys later showed a snapshot of a video from the scene revealing that Gwen Verriel was wearing a body camera. Woo! Another lie. Most recently, LMPD was in the limelight in the national level following the arrest of Scottie Scheffler, a number one ranked golfer in the world outside Valhalla Golf Club in East Louisville during PGA Championship Week. 3 LMPD officers initially failed to turn on their body cameras. The Scheffler was arrested May 17th for allegedly refusing to stop while entering Valhalla and dragging an officer charges that may have since been dismissed. Detective Brian Gillis and Kevin Watkins and Officer Javar Downs were found to have not turned on their body cams in violation of police policy. According to the 63-page document, pictures and investigative file were released Friday. The officers had to fill out failure to activate forms. Gillis received counseling. There is no body-worn camera footage for the incident before Gillis was allegedly assaulted. In addition to being disciplined for failing to turn on his body cam, Gillis was also verbally counseled for reaching into the vehicle while it was running. Tactically speaking, he acted poorly by adding layers of risk to what amounted to a misunderstanding over a traffic violation, per KRS on arrestable B misdemeanor, and thus little reward, according to the investigation. Gwen Verriel came to Louisville after serving as a training academy commander for the Atlanta Police Department, working tirelessly to cooperate in a variety of initiatives advancing police training to meet the recommendations in the President's Task Force on Policing in the 21st Century. LMPD said the news was released when she was hired as a deputy chief. Gwen Verriel was described as a devoted wife and mother. She served as a senior pastor of Atlanta's Unstoppable Praise Ministry in Atlanta. Prior to that, she led the First Gethsemane Baptist Church in Atlanta. According to the church's website, Gwen Verriel's husband, David Verriel, is also in law enforcement. He is listed as a major with the APD and Director of Communication. Eric Shields, when the chief of the LMPD worked with Gwen Verriel for more than Erica Shields, then chief of LMPD, worked with Gwen Verriel for more than 20 years at APD. Man, to break all this down, Lord just has problems. Lord just has problems. Which is a dream of every criminal in this town or any other criminal in general, especially when your leadership is so inconsistent. From Steve Conrad and now this lady, Gwen Veriel. Lord, oh man, especially when it comes to sexual harassment, that's something that you gotta take care of. Where you can't brush off like dust on your clothes. Um, cause especially with the Me Too movement, I guess it's still alive and well, and especially during down through the years, you can't brush it off, and just to maintain the order. That's what this is pretty much is. You promote the guy and just maintain order, and pretty much having a keep it moving attitude. That's the wrong time to have a keep it moving attitude. Cause you got a sexual harassment charge on the table, a complaint on the table, and if you don't do anything about it, these are the results. You're gonna lose your job. You're gonna be suspended. You ain't gonna. It's a pretty much game over. And but this drama ain't nothing new as far as the police department. Like I said, the leadership is so inconsistent. And like I said a while ago, I think this is the sixth chief of interim slash chief of police in Louisville since 2020. That's a joke right there. Number six since 2020. Yeah, they play. It's pretty much in a had well, was in a interim role or a full time chief of police role, or have been in an interim role or full time police chief of police role since 2020. Let's see if I can hunt that point down. Yeah, let's see if I can hunt that point down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, pain sons. Yeah, here he goes. Here he goes. Deputy Chief Paul Humphrey will lead the department in an acting chief role, the sixth person to lead the department on a permanent or interim basis since June of 2020. June of 2020. But like basically, like I said, It's a department. Is a criminal's dream and citizen's nightmare. Really. Yeah. That pretty much sums up Louisville's the police department right there. A citizen's dream and a criminal's nightmare. Citizen's criminal's nightmare and a citizen's nightmare and a criminal's dream. Put it like that. But but like I said, she's in some trouble because you can't even can't brush off a sexual harassment charge like that. Especially when you know your department is not looked at too highly anyway. Been investigated so many times, or has a history of a behind the scenes investigation. So it would that's foolish. But so that's pretty much it right there. Yeah, pretty much it. Knowing that your department, and that's the crazy thing about it, knowing that your department of investigation investigated and looked at under the placed under the microscope, you're gonna ignore a sexual harassment charge and not take it serious. Of course, they're gonna cover it. They covered it up by saying everybody will know there was nobody promoted, so you know how that is. That he said, she said garbage is a valuable weapon, a valuable lie to use when needed. But the reputation speaks for itself. And the reputation speaks for itself. But that's all I got for this one. I can't add no more on to this one. I take away from it. Uh, uh, yeah, LMPD has some issues to be Captain Obvious, but that's going to do it. It's another episode of the reporter vlog for Friday, June 14th. Pretty much my longest episode since the reporter vlog began. Y'all have a good one. Have a good weekend. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Like I said, y'all have a good weekend. I'm gone.